Hi, this is Travel Award Search with the rest of the story on our search for business class award flights from Houston to Nice for a cruise. This includes search for flights from Rome back to Houston at the end of our cruise. So let's start with a summary of what we found for flights coming home. So here's the spreadsheet with the flights from Rome highlighted in green. FCO is the airport code for the main international airport in Rome. You can see we've also taken a look at leaving from Brussels, which would require a short European flight, which is very inexpensive, or from Heathrow in the London area, or Manchester, which is further north but a train ride from London. And that was one of the key things we looked at for our flight going to Europe ahead of the cruise in Nice. Once again, if you haven't seen the first part, we're going to add another column called All Miles, where I've converted the fees associated with each of these award flights into miles. It helps make it easier to compare between the flights, especially when some have a very high cash fee associated with them and others do not. We've added that column. Here are the results we get when we resort keying in on that. You can see that the flights coming back directly from Rome tend to be some of the highest in the group. And the reason that we're looking at this is to make our decision on the flight going to the cruise at the same time. We've decided we want to come right home from Rome after spending a few days there. The cruise ends on the 19th, so coming back the 21st, 22nd would be ideal. The KLM flight only has one stop, and although a fairly high fee, a reasonable number of miles, but it is 24 hours in total duration with 12 hours in Amsterdam. Those 12 hours are in the evening, so you could stay at a hotel overnight, but I'm not terribly excited about that. So what we've decided is to take the flight we found on the United website. It goes through Zurich and O'Hare. The first two legs of that are on Swiss. It does have two stops, which is definitely not my preference, but a total time of just under 18 hours. Usually we prefer not to go through O'Hare on international connections because immigration and customs can be quite an adventure, let's say. It can take quite a bit of time. But this is the only flight getting into Houston at a reasonable time. It arrives about 8:30, whereas the flight that goes through Dulles has a much longer layover and arrives around midnight. I did also check, and there's another flight from O'Hare to Houston a little bit later. That gets in about 10:30. So if for some reason that connection is missed, there is another flight available. I'm booking that because it's something I can live with, so that I've locked in my return, but I am going to continue to search for other flights to see if I can get something with a reasonable amount of miles with only one stop coming back. It also has no cancellation penalties, so it enables me to have the flexibility to do that. So since we've decided to come home directly from Rome, I'm going to go back to what's my final decision on getting to Nice. As a reminder, we had searched many flights, those directly to Nice, as well as stopping in some other places in Europe, since you can take low-cost flights within Europe. However, we decided we didn't find anything very compelling about the difference in cost for a stop in Lisbon or Barcelona or Madrid, and we had been there recently enough that we weren't that interested in it. I'm going to take those out of this sheet and show you what we were really considering. So these are the flights we're considering for the initial travel eventually to Nice. We haven't been to London in some time, so that is attractive to us to make a stop in that area. And you can see we have these sorted by the all miles category. So we've got the flight to Manchester, Manchester, a couple flights that go to Nice but have 2 stops, or a flight to London that has low miles but very high fee. Also want to point out on this flight to Manchester, it's available from September 27th to 29th and also October 1st. It of course is non-stop. It does have a bit of a cancellation penalty, $50 to $75. But as we talked through things, we decided we really do like the idea of making a stop in London, potentially spending a little time in Manchester itself as well. So that is the flight that we're selecting. Someone else may do something different with different desires or different constraints, but this works for us. This gives you the example of what our flight results were and how we analyzed them and decided on which flights to actually book. This has been Travel Award Search with the rest of the story on a search for business class flights, being able to go from Houston to Nice, at least eventually for the cruise, and then also taking a look at the return from Rome to Houston in order to get a full picture and make a decision on what to book. This is Wandering Woman with Travel Award Search. Hope you've enjoyed the video, and as always, travel wisely, travel well. Thank you.